Well, I mean, at the end of the day, it's all relationships. Your network is your net worth, dude.
I think relationships have taken me farther than anything else in business, without question.
In sales, it's like you got to be good at the front end, you got to be at the mid game, and you got to be damn good at the long game. And the best salespeople are that.
The greatest salespeople listen. They just ask really good questions and they shut their mouth and they listen.
Dude, I don't know what AI is going to do to people's brains, dude.
I think what makes people like you and I really good at what we do is that we're so curious.
Focus is going to be the most important superpower of the future.
What's up, everybody? Grant Wise. Welcome back to the Partner Profit Podcast. I could not be more pumped for the conversation I'm going to get to have today with Mr. Joshua Smith, Mr. GSD, a longtime friend, somebody I've admired deeply, who's just built amazing company after amazing company, and he's got some cool stuff he's working on now. Man, Josh, thanks for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, brother. Always an honor jamming with you, man. I always have a lot of fun anytime we get a chance to speak and collaborate.
100%. So for people that don't know you as well as I do, give them the quick backstory. How'd you get to where you are today?
Yeah, man. So jumped into real estate 2005. 23-year-old young punk kid just trying to figure out life and looking for a vehicle. College didn't work out for me, so just trying to, find a vehicle, man, and jumped in, 23 years old, dude, hit the ground running. Did 40 deals my first year, 103 my second, led me to building my team. And then 21 years later, man, here I am, dude. So I've kind of worn a lot of different hats in the industry, man, from being a top producing individual agent to building one of the top teams in the country to running the brokerage side. We built up 105 locations through a franchising company. About 10 years ago, I started a coaching company in the space. So I've been able to, I've had the honor and privilege of, coaching 5,000 plus realtors, team managers, and broker owners as well. And, just loving every second of this amazing vehicle of real estate that we're involved in.
That's awesome. It's always been impressive to watch you work. That's for sure. At least from all the stuff that I've seen. And, I'm really curious in all of what you do. Real estate is such a relationship driven industry, but I'm curious, from your perspective, how has partnerships, relationships, those different types of things, how have those played a role in the growth of your businesses over the years?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, it's all relationships. I mean, whether I'm, it's like, okay, if I want to convert this cold lead into a buyer seller, I mean, we know statistically that 88% of buyers and sellers go to the first agent that they meet with and connect with in person. So that's that relationship base. And then the deeper those relationships go, obviously referral business, but then from there, in all aspects of business, it's like, okay, if I'm like with what I'm focused on right now, I'm growing a global real estate company right now, in 8 different countries. Well, dude, it's like when I'm going into business with another agent, it's just about that relationship, so I think really business, and I think people may discount this or don't take it serious enough, but at the end of the day, dude, it's all relationships. Mm-hmm. And the best operators I've ever met, people that built billion-dollar, insane, amazing companies are those that are best at connecting and developing amazing relationships. And that saying of your network is your net worth, dude, doesn't mean that if you don't have relationships, you can't create success. But I'm telling you, man, the longer I'm in this game, the more I understand that is about relationships. 100%.
I think relationships have taken me farther than anything else in business, without question. But I'm curious, for you, do you have like a strategy for going out and seeking the type of people that you want to work with? Or do you have more of like an attraction strategy that's pulling people towards you? What's the angle that you run out there?
Yeah, so a combination of both. Most of my career, I've been a hunter. Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. And I'll speak to, the 2 most important relationships that, at least that I've found. And yeah, we got to have amazing relationship with clients. But the 2 that have served me best is my partners and then mentors. Mm. So let's look first at mentors. Right. Like one of my missions early on, and still is to this day is, okay, like what do I need to do to build up this Rolodex right here, where any problem that I have the right person to dial that phone. And not only do I have them in my phone, but they will take my call. Mm-hmm. So, okay, like those mentor relationships, like I've always been extremely intentional at that. And okay, how do you go out there and develop those? Just like you would that dream client, if I'm going after a mentor, right, I create a strategy plan. Okay, like what is it that they're doing? What are maybe try to identify different struggles or different things that their objectives they're trying to achieve. Okay, how can I add value to their life? What can I do to support them? And sometimes with certain mentors, because they're so many steps ahead of you, it may not be knowledge-based, but maybe they're trying to, launch a new charity and give back to this new charity. Okay, well, maybe I don't have money to give back, but I could go volunteer my time. right, to get in there and add that value. So, so yeah, very strategic on developing those relationships with those mentors. And then when it comes to partnerships, like if you look at like what I'm doing right now, developing, partnerships with agent partners, all over the globe. Yeah, I mean, I have some attraction-based podcasts, social media, but to grow fast, dude, I've never relied on attraction. Like I said earlier, I'm a hunter, man. So, yes, 1,000% strategic. And I can get in the weeds on what I do to develop those relationships if you want to.
Well, that's going to be my next question. Yeah. How do you know who to hunt? Like, what's the process? Walk me through it.
Yeah. So it's kind of hard. Like, you don't always know, right? I spend about an hour a day on Google, just looking up, top real estate professionals in XYZ area. And then I'll go out there and I'll check them out, right? Like I'll check out their websites, I'll check out their social medias, I'll check out their experience. Is this a running partner that I think would be somebody I want to run with? Do they have big goals? Are they motivated? Do they have a burning desire there's three kind of key things I always look for. Do they have a burning desire to succeed? Do they have a hard work ethic? Are they coachable? Because then I know if they have those three things, like, okay, like we can do some big things together. Yeah. Some of those things are kind of hard to unpack, without that. But I do my best to do a little bit of due diligence to know if it's somebody that, I think might be a good potential running partner, and then from there, dude, I shoot out about 30 messages a day. I'm always on the hunt to just lead to a Zoom call. Mm-hmm. Hey, this might be a shot in the dark. You got amazing thing currently going on. Not sure if this would make sense or not, but I think that there could be some opportunities and synergies together that we could go and partner together and do some big things together. Would you be open to jumping on a 60-minute Zoom call with me just to see if there might be some opportunities to explore? And then with those conversations, dude, it's like last 2 days example, I've had, 16 Zoom meetings, in just the last, 2 days. I try to have at a minimum 3 a day, right? Just to explore the conversation, explore the, partnership, the possibilities there. And then, that's kind of step level number one with that.
Is the intro always the ask to jump on a Zoom call, or do you start your conversations a little bit more tactfully or strategically?
It depends on what level that they're at. And because I am kind of a bottom line up front, get to the point, right? Yeah. Now let's just say it's a mega team leader, right? Right? Or a brokerage owner, they got 300 agents talking about a partnership with that. Before just going in for any kind of an ask, those I will lead off with a mastermind. Hey, Grant, see you doing amazing things there in Arkansas with your real estate team. Not sure if you're open to this or not, but man, I'd love to schedule a 60-minute Zoom mastermind. I run a team here in Phoenix, Arizona. I've sold over 7,000 homes, become one of the top, team leaders on the planet. I'm an open book. We're not in competing markets. I think we could learn a lot from each other. Would you be open to a mastermind? And then honestly, with those, I don't lead off with talking about business. Right? It's just, okay, let's build that relationship. Let's talk about, masterminding. And more often than not, when they start unpacking, asking about my journey, usually leads from them asking me questions about what I got going on, right? So it kind of reverse, opens up that door. Right. Like I got a brokerage right now of just over 200 agents coming over, and that's exactly how it came in. How's this transition been for you? Oh, it's been great, man. Recruited 426 agents last 12 months. And they're like, wait, what? Hold on, what? Did you just say 426 agents in 12 months? Yeah, dude. It's like, well, man, I've been at this, for over 10 years, and I've been able to get above 200. Like, what are you doing? Right? So it just kind of unpacks that where then, and that's, I mean, in a perfect world, that's my favorite way, right? Is to get them kind of chasing you versus you chasing them.
100%. It's a much longer tailed conversation though when you're recruiting, right? Like it's not always like, hey, let's jump on the phone and do a deal. Have you found that, in real estate, it just takes time. How do you handle that?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at, let's just say the average realtor, I'm sure it's different, for team leaders, but I mean, depending on your average success or the level that you're at in the industry, but the average agent, according to NAR, makes a move about every 2 years. So it is, man. It is one of these things where, people are going to make a move on their own timeline. Some may never make a move, right? I mean, usually over a long enough period of time, everybody, makes a move. And the other thing is everybody's always recruitable. I just find that most people recruit wrong. They don't spend time, really identifying the true pain points that they're experiencing. So they don't really know how to sell the value of whatever that partnership is. But yeah, it is that long-term nurture game, dude. Yeah. Right. So, and if you look at, and this is true for B2B, B2C, if you look at human behavior today, people want the information that they want to make their best informed decision, but they want to do it in a safe, non-pushy, non-pressure environment.
Yeah, 100%.
So I'm always stressing to everybody hey, look, everything I do is 100% zero pressure. I'm not going to try to recruit you, not going to push you, not going to pressure you. I'm just going to walk you through everything that we're doing, what we got going on, answer any questions that you have. And look, at the end of that call, if you think it's a fit for you, great. If not, that's okay too. We can still be friends. So I had a chance to jump on and have a great conversation, get to know each other. And then from there, we've got to make sure that we have the follow-up and the long-term nurture on that stuff. And I hold true to it. One of the mistakes I made early on, I don't know, 19 years ago with recruiting is, man, I would pressure people. Yeah. Right. I just wanted them so bad. But I found, man, if you got to hard sell them to move over, then you got to consistently hard sell them to stay. Yeah. It's like, I want to roll with people that are like, man, this is what I've been looking for. Holy shit. Like, this is what I want. This is what I need. Like, let's go.
Yeah. I think people have these crazy misconceptions about salespeople. I see it a lot, especially when I'm teaching people how to sell, is everybody always thinks that salespeople just sit around and talk. And I'm like, the greatest salespeople listen. They just ask really good questions and they shut their mouth and they listen. And the answer to the first question informs the next. Like, it's just question after question after question. Because the reality is people will sell themselves if you're good enough at asking the right questions in the right way. And I think that I've seen the same thing happen in recruiting, 100%. If you sit there just high pressure, talk, it seems like the least amount of success you'll have, or the harder the relationship is to maintain when you actually get it. And I was going to ask, like, what are some of the do's and don'ts about building a long-term nurture plan? Because some people listen to that like, well, I don't want to do that. What do you say to those people? It's like, that sounds like a lot of work. Like, I don't know if I want to do that. I want to get it done now.
Yeah. Well, then it's just, you're always just going to have super low conversion rates.
Yeah.
Because there is a percentage that will be hot to trot right now, that you'll pop right now. But if you're only focused on that, you're not going to maximize your conversion rate potential, right?
Yeah.
So, I found in sales, it's like you got to be good at the front end, you got to be at the mid game, and you got to be damn good at the long game. And the best salespeople are that. And to your point, at least what I've found, for me, and I've always been pretty damn good at sales is all about pain and pleasure. Like, you got to identify, okay, what is the pain they're experiencing? What is the pleasure they want to get to? And then the best salespeople then articulate that they're the best guide to get them from point A to point B, from pain to pleasure. And to your point earlier, well, how can we identify what their true pain points are and what their true pleasures are, that they want to get to, if we're not great listeners? And if we don't ask those kind of, thought-provoking, hard questions. But then, and this is where like tonality and other things come into play is we got to get people to be able to open up. And if they don't feel safe and comfortable with you, they're not going to open up and walk you through those true pain points.
100%. I was going to say also people that have a low level of emotional intelligence seem to struggle a lot. I teach a framework in sales called emotional math, and it's internal pain plus internal pleasure equals motivation. So getting to what you were saying is like, if you know somebody's pain, but then I take it a step, or I typically will go a step deeper with emotional math and say, what is their pain and how is that pain making them feel on the emotional ladder? And then what is the pleasure that they're seeking and how is that going to make them feel on the emotional ladder? And then that unlocks the motivation. So if I know that you're super stressed right now, well, stress is what I'm selling against. And I know you want to feel relief or you want to feel proud of yourself for getting over something or something like that. That's that pain and pleasure emotion that we're selling to. I think not enough people, and you're really good at this, not enough people pay attention to that. They just try to sell stuff like, oh, pain and pleasure. Sometimes it's not enough. You got to know how somebody feels, because if you can get to the heart of that, what you just said, getting them to open up and share, then you can really crush it in sales. But if you don't have the time and you just try to rush through everything, not only we have low conversion rate, we have high churn, and it makes it ridiculously challenging. I was going to ask your process for identifying the type of people that you want to partner with. Are you using AI at all to help facilitate in those searches, today, or is it mainly still just straight up Google searches?
Yeah, it's a lot of Google, man. This might sound kind of weird, man, because I've always been a pretty high use technology guy. And don't get me wrong, am I using some AI? Yes, but I actually use it a lot less than most others. And part of that is, dude, I don't know what AI is going to do to people's brains, dude. Right? Like, and MIT's already doing, MIT's already doing a lot of in-depth research on this. But like, dude, like people can't even craft a damn email anymore without 100%. AI. and it's like just removing that ability to, and, any element of critical, thought and, so I mean, do I use AI? Yes, but like high level strategy stuff, it's like unless I get so stuck on something and and I give myself like a week at it first before I'll start to incorporate AI. Because I truly believe, dude, that focus is going to be the most important superpower of the future. So I'm always trying to be very intentional and strategic about what am I doing to always improve my personal focus. With that being said, though, just like all things, okay, like seek and you shall find. Like first you got to know what you're hunting for.
Yeah.
So okay, like I know who my 4 ideal client avatars are. So I'm very, very specific on, okay, who I want, why I want them, why those relationships are important to me. So then, I'm not just randomly going out there and searching, for them. I probably should incorporate AI because it'd be a little bit more effective and efficient. Everybody else is running towards AI. I've been kind of running away from it a little bit, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Well, I know for a fact that when it comes to the relationship that we have with an audience, because in recruiting or in partnerships or relationship, like this is the key word. Like if you don't have that relationship, and what I see so many people are doing right now is they're outsourcing their ability to develop a relationship to AI. When I scroll, Facebook or Instagram lately, it's kind of pointless. It's like these are all just AIs talking to each other. Like these are not people having a conversation anymore. It's people that are quote unquote too busy to go think and like put forth. And so the people that would love your thought on this. Like, how do you think the rise of AI is going to impact trust and relationship building, partnerships, strategic partnerships, those types of things when it comes to growing businesses and building brand over the next few years?
I don't know, is the honest answer. But I'll tell you what's been really interesting. Probably in about the last 6 months, we started seeing about 20% of all our leads coming in, they're finding us on ChatGPT. Right? And so when I say I'm not using AI, okay, I'm very strategic on, okay, how do I get, all the content, everything we're putting on Google, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook to feed into ChatGPT, but the amount of trust that people have, dude, like it's like that 20% when I'm asking them, well, how'd you hear about me? Well, ChatGPT'd you and they told me I should choose you. Like, dude, that's they wild. Trust ChatGPT as much as a friend or family member. Right? Like the general consumer is giving it so much weight, which is kind of scary in a way. But I'm going to leverage the hell out of it. So like we're making sure that everything that we do is speaking to, the ChatGPT ecosystem, if you will, but it's been insane, man.
That's wild. I hear it both ways. Like we're in this trust recession. So if you're not building a relationship with your audience, you're somebody else's and yada yada. But what you're saying is definitely true. I mean, a lot of people are starting to get discovered through ChatGPT, and it's like, well, yeah, I love Iron Man, so I named my ChatGPT Jarvis. So I'm always asking Jarvis, like, well, what do I do here? What do I think there? Not what do I think, but how do we think about this? Or I use it a lot I use it to just like ideate. So I'll sit there and just like it's like I'm having a conversation with somebody that's allowing me to help myself like refine an idea. It's like, hey, this is what I'm thinking, let's access the brain of the internet. Like what are the downsides? What are the upsides? What is this? What is that? What am I not thinking about? And I found that it's been amazing for me to be able to talk that way to what I call Jarvis. Cause like the strategic thinking, it's just like, okay. Now I know what I want to execute on and I'm going to act. And then we've been using it internally from a developmental standpoint, and it's just changed the game for us. Like what we're doing now in like an hour used to take me like a month with a team of 10. It's like, yeah, that's awesome. Like the tools that I've got to be able to communicate a vision has always been such a hard thing. But anyways, getting a little
and don't get me wrong, dude. When I say I'm not using it, like here's an example. I was just talking with a bunch of agents. I was doing a guest trainer on a thing the other day, and they're talking about AI, and I was like, look, okay, I can go into Gamma app, and I use Gamma app a lot, right, because it can spit out beautiful presentations that I could spend 100 hours not create it, but like graphic design isn't going to be something it's not a good use of my time. But like I told them, I'm like, look, you can have the most beautiful presentation in the world, but the presentation isn't about the physical presentation. If you haven't mastered the art of how to deliver an effective presentation. Let's just say a listing presentation, right? Or it's, any presentations, you want to 4 things, right? Inform and educate, articulate your value, identify any root core concerns, lead seamlessly in the close. I'm like, if you haven't dialed those fundamentals in, like your presentation itself is going to be irrelevant. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely some great pluses of it, dude. I don't want to make it I don't want to sound off like I'm not using it all. I'm just, at least for my own, now I've got amazing teammates that I'm sure leverage the hell out of it. My, podcast team and whatever, but that's on, like, sure. I'm talking like for me personally, like when it comes to research and stuff, like I want to maintain, and again, maybe you can tell me if you think I'm an idiot, Grant, but I want to maintain my ability to be able to effectively research. I want to maintain my ability, so I kind of give myself a week, right? Okay, if I'm looking at a new strategy or, whatever that may be, new business opportunity, I'll give myself a week at it before I start incorporating AI, just because I am nervous, dude, about like, I don't want to remove my own ability. Because with things like, dude, chat, I mean, it's so freaking powerful, dude. It's like I could see it making 100%. Me where I don't have to think anymore.
I like to think with it. I think that's the way that that's how I would describe it. Because I like just sitting there asking questions because we're all so fascinated. I think what makes people like you and I really good at what we do is that we're so curious. And so I kind of treat it like a sparring partner. Like I've got this curiosity, ask a question, but then typically when I get a response, it's for me, it's not like, oh, okay, cool. It's like, okay, I got 7 more questions I need to ask and I can't go pay my coach. I need to think this through. And so I love going on a walk and just like, what about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? It helps you really think through an idea in a way that I've not had that ability to do so. And so I don't think everybody's got their own process. That's just how I use it. Yeah. But I love thinking with it instead of letting it think for me. And I think that's a big distinction because I know a lot of people that have outsourced their brain to ChatGPT and they do not think anymore. Like the way that school and all this crazy stuff is like, it's wild, man. I want to respect your time. I just got a couple more quick questions. And one of these is like the identity, like I'm a hunter. There's so many people, I think that they want to grow, but they don't want to have to work for it. And somebody that is a hunter, you're in it. Like you're in it every day, 30 messages a day, having 3 hour-long presentations a day. Some people look at that workload and are like, I don't know. What is it that somebody needs to do maybe to shift the mindset, the habits, the routines, the rituals, whatever? What is it for you that's helped you kind of get into that rhythm so that you can hunt every day? Because I'm sure there's days you don't feel like it, but what is it, man?
If somebody isn't willing to put in the work, I just say, okay, you probably don't want it bad enough. You probably don't really actually want it. It's probably a nice to have, not a must have for you. Yeah. And I've found that it doesn't matter what it is that you want to create success in. I mean, I know you know these things, Grant, but those watching and listen may not. But, I've had some success in different aspects of my life. One of those is health and fitness, right? In my early 20s, I let my health grow, became morbidly obese, almost 300 pounds. And, when I decided to turn my health around, lose over 100 pounds, keep that off for multiple decades and get in amazing shape, it was like, dude, I had to want it. Right? Yeah. And it takes daily consistent work. First off is you got to get yourself to the point where even the thought of not making this thing a reality, not accomplish the thing that you want to accomplish, the pain of just thinking of not making it a reality is more painful than the bullshit that we have to go through to make it a reality. Because, and this might sound morbid, but dude, life is pain. Life is suffering. Life is pain. The most dangerous place anybody can allow themselves to get to is a place of complacency, which is the vast majority of the human race now today. Is they just want shit to be easy. They don't want to put in the work. They don't want to, but the reality is, dude, you're going to experience one or two pains. It's either, it's like, okay, I'm going to experience the pain of being morbidly obese, overweight, fat, no energy, or I'm going to experience the pain of having to, meal prep every day and eat super clean and work my ass off in the gym every single day, but now I got amazing health. Mm-hmm. Same thing in business, dude. It's like, more often than not, I wake up, I don't want to do any of this crap, right? Just like right now, dude, like I came down with something. I'm sick as hell right now on this podcast. Like I just want to go to bed right now all day today, but no, I got meetings, I got shit I got to do. I got, right? But you gotta push through, but you just got to deal in realities and be like, okay, what is it that I want? Like, do I really want this or am I just full of shit? Mm-hmm. But then at least then you can understand and just say, no, I'm full of shit. I don't actually want that. Then, okay, go on about your life, but quit mentally masturbating and being delusional saying, I want this thing, right? I'm not saying that everybody's got to be a hunter. There's some that I know that have mastered the attraction base. For me, I'm a combo.
Are really good at it, yeah.
Right? I know you've been brilliant at that. For me, I'm a combo with it both, right? Like if I look at, okay, with what I'm trying to build on, the attraction side, like right now I'm trying to build a 40,000 agent organization within 10 years. Now, okay, I will probably through attraction, build about 10,000 of that. And some might be okay with, hey man, if I could build a 10,000, agent brokerage organization in 10 years, I'd be happy with that. But for me, I'm not. There's a reason why I want that 40,000. So I know attraction alone isn't going to get me there at the speed I want to get there at. Mm-hmm. And I'm 44 now, dude. Like I don't have, the time that I used to have, right? It's as we get older, I think we just understand the value of time and how precious time is. Right? So for me, yeah, man, I'm hunting hard. And the reason why I like hunting, and I love attraction too, don't get me wrong, I love it too. But as I've found, if you become a good hunter, like you'll never run out of money.
100%.
It's like, I think like, we'll just talk real estate for a second. Like, dude, if everybody, as much as it might suck, if you get damn good at getting on the phones, cold prospecting, getting on the phones, and I say never run out of money. Like you get yourself in a pinch. Okay, I can go get 7 listings before the end of this week. I can go stack 7 listings because I've acquired that skill set. Even though you might not do it, maybe you're just attraction based. You develop that skill set. Like you're good, dude. You can get yourself in hard spots, and you can get out of those hard spots fast.
100%. I don't think we'll realize how valuable that is. Like the ability to be like, okay, I don't want to do this, but I know that I can go do this work over the next 7 days, and then boom, my money problems are solved. I think there's so many people in the world that don't think that's real. That just like, whatever, like that doesn't sound legitimate. No, it's real, dude. Like if you develop some of these skill sets with anything, with real estate, with coaching, with services, with anything, it's amazing what you can do whenever it's crunch time and you got to go out there and produce if you've got the mindset you're talking about of being a hunter. I'm right there with you. I love advertising. I love it when business comes to me, but I also love, the hunting game. But at the end of the day, like partnerships and relationships, when we're hunting, like we get to just look up cool people and then go have conversations with those cool people. And then eventually something's going to happen. Maybe it's business. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's directly not business. But I've never regretted working my ass off to develop the relationships I've got today. Because what you said earlier in the show is like your net worth is your network. And I've booked. I'm one booking away today from booking 30 podcast interviews in the last 4 weeks. And I'm obviously pushing myself pretty hard to hit some specific numbers, but I'm like, it wasn't even that hard. I just texted my friends. It's like, yeah, that's cool, man. Like to be able to think like that was a lot of work over the last 12 years to do that. But it's like, yeah, but these relationships are cool as hell. And I haven't met anybody that's regretted that at the end of it. When you turn around, it's like, no, you'd be way better off, man. I love this. I appreciate, I've got 1,000 questions I want to ask you as always, but I'm trying to want to respect your time. I want to make sure we don't go too long. I want to ask this last question, which is, how can we, listeners of the podcast, how can we walk alongside you, partner with you, help you hit your objectives of 40,000 agents in your organization in 10 years or less?
Yeah, man, for the first time in a long time, man, probably almost 20 years, like I've got one singular focus, which is this mission. I've always had so many other businesses going on, and I'm like, all right, man, this is the kind of biggest stretch goal I've had in my life. And I'm like, okay, in order to accomplish that, I'm going to have one single goal. So in order to accomplish that goal, I'm just looking for amazing real estate agent partners, really in all over the globe. I mean, we're in 28 countries, total right now that we can do business in. So supporting me on my mission, if anybody knows of any real estate agents, team leaders, broker owners, that might be a good fit to sit down and just have a conversation about this opportunity, that's what I'm looking for. Just amazing running partners.
What's the best way for us to connect people with you if we got that?
Yeah, you can email me, joshua@gsdmode.com. And you can connect with me on social. All my handles are Joshua GSD. Forget Shit Done. My YouTube channel podcast is GSD Mode. Yeah. 3,000 podcasts. You've been on there several times.
I have, yeah. That's awesome. 3,000 episodes, man. That's epic. Been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, it's like 12 years, dude. It's crazy, but it's been a hell of a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Brother, I appreciate you a ton. Thank you so much for being here today. It's an awesome conversation, and looking forward to watching you work and achieving what's important to you.
Yeah, appreciate you as well, brother. Honor being here, man.
Of course. All right. Thank you all. Definitely go follow Josh. And make sure if you've got any agents to connect him with, you do. This guy is an epic human, and again, pumped to watch what he's going to do over the next few years. And thank you all for continuing to listen to the Partner in Profit podcast. I'll see you on the next episode. Peace.